It's hard to believe what scientists discovered beneath Lake Tahoe. What they found could change everything, and it may be more dangerous than anyone imagined.
But that's not the case for all of Northern California right now. We've talked about the heightened fire risk, but in the Sierra, they're seeing storms today. Yes, in June. Take a look at this video out of Lake Tahoe today. During a thunderstorm there earlier today, you can see the boats crashing and moving around the waters.
High above the Sierra Nevada crest, nestled between California and Nevada, Lake Tahoe hides a secret far darker than its crystalline waters suggest. Scientists deploying advanced seismic and magnetotelluric sensors beneath the lake's floor have just detected something no one expected. A massive, slowly rising magma body, and it's waking. The anomaly spans tens of kilometers, deeper than the crust's known magma chambers. It's pushing upward, deforming the bedrock, altering heat flows, and even triggering tremors too subtle to feel. Thermal models suggest its temperature rivals active volcanic systems. Beneath a lake best known for ski resorts and summer tranquility, something far more primal is stirring. If the calm surface belies a volcanic force gathering strength, how long before that silence breaks? Chapter 1. The uneasy silence beneath the surface. What if Tahoe's silence isn't peace, it's pressure? In January 2025, USGS instruments detected micro-earthquakes repeating in rhythmic clusters, almost like a pulse. The tremors, small yet precise, lined up directly beneath Tahoe's central basin, following a pattern eerily similar to pre-eruption quakes in Iceland. Seismic models showed these weren't fault slips, they were intrusions. Magma forcing its way upward. Satellite imagery later confirmed slow uplift across the lake's floor. The deformation stretched nearly 20 kilometers, enough to bend pipelines and tilt piers by centimeters. Then came the sound. Hydrophones lowered into the depths picked up a low-frequency hum, inaudible to humans, but powerful enough to vibrate the lakebed. When played back 300 times faster, it resembled a resonant growl. Some scientists argue it's simply water movement. Others fear it's geothermal pressurization. Magma heating trapped groundwater to the verge of flash steam explosion. In that scenario, even a minor quake could set off a chain reaction strong enough to eject boiling water and ash skyward, obliterating everything along the shoreline. But the story doesn't end there. In the months that followed, nearby geothermal wells began registering sudden pressure spikes, and thermal vents at the southern bay released plumes visible from passing aircraft. Locals reported strange vibrations through boat hulls and metallic tastes in the water, signs of mineral leaching from heated rock below. Researchers attempting to triangulate the quakes found they weren't random at all. They formed a circular pattern, outlining what may be a newly forming magma dome. If that dome breaches the surface, the calm blue lake could transform into an inland geyser field within hours. Imagine standing on Tahoe's shore as the ground shudders, the water trembles, and mist rises glowing red from beneath the waves. The heartbeat would become a roar, the lake breathing fire for the first time in human memory. If the quietest waters in America are learning to speak through quakes and heat, is this the planet whispering a warning, or taking its first deep breath before awakening? Chapter 2. The cracks in the basin. What if the ground beneath Tahoe is already tearing itself apart? When NASA's INSAR satellite swept across the region in mid-2025, they picked up something no one expected. Hundreds of faint fractures tracing the lake's rim in symmetrical arcs. At first, scientists thought it was sediment slumping from changing water levels, but the cracks kept widening, aligning perfectly with known fault boundaries and forming an ominous geometric web of tension. Core samples drilled from these fractures revealed something shocking. Microscopic shards of volcanic glass and crystallized ash, proof of past thermal activity right beneath the lake bed. These were not ancient relics. Their radiometric age, barely a few hundred years. That meant the system beneath Tahoe had stirred before, and could stir again. Even more disturbing, underwater drones exploring the southern shelf discovered columns of gas bubbles rising like champagne, carrying with them sulfur, CO2, and hydrogen sulfide. These gases, invisible and odorless, are deadly in high concentrations. At Lake Nyos in Cameroon, a similar event suffocated 1,700 people in a single night. Tahoe's volume is nearly 100 times greater. Meanwhile, thermal scans revealed that the lake floor isn't flat at all. It's subtly arching upward, bulging under hidden pressure. Geologists call it aseismic inflation. Molten rock pushing upward without yet breaking through. Each passing month, that silent dome grows taller, expanding by millimeters that could one day become meters. If that dome breaches the lake's surface, the result would be apocalyptic. Water vaporizing instantly into steam, rocks raining down like molten hail, and shockwaves capable of leveling entire towns along the shore. The resulting explosion would leave a new crater where the world's most photographed lake once shimmered. And yet, life above goes on undisturbed. Boats glide across blue waters. Tourists sip coffee on balconies, unaware that the earth beneath them is literally inhaling magma. So the question becomes, if the land is fracturing, the gases are rising, and the heat is building, how close are we to the moment when Lake Tahoe stops holding itself together and finally exhales? Chapter 3. The boiling point. What if the water itself becomes the weapon? For decades, scientists have described Lake Tahoe as one of the purest and coldest bodies of water on Earth. But in the summer of 2025, that definition began to crumble. When researchers from the Tahoe Environmental Research Center lowered thermal sensors into the lake's deepest trenches, they made a chilling discovery. Or rather, a boiling one. Pockets of water once stable at 4 degrees Celsius were now reading temperatures as high as 35 degrees Celsius. And the source wasn't sunlight or runoff, it was geothermal. Plumes of superheated fluid were rising from fissures in the sediment, churning minerals, metals, and gas into the depths. High-definition footage captured silver wisps shimmering upward like ghosts, twisting and curling as if something beneath was exhaling heat. Chemical analysis confirmed it. Those plumes contained high levels of iron, vanadium, and sulfuric compounds, the same chemical fingerprint found near volcanic vents in the Pacific Ring of Fire. Even more alarming, the water samples revealed dissolved carbon dioxide at saturation levels. One sudden temperature jump, one violent shift, and that CO2 could burst from solution like a shaken bottle, flooding the basin with an invisible, deadly wave. As if that weren't enough, a mysterious haze began to form over the surface at dawn, a thin veil of ionized vapor that refracted light like a mirage. Some dismissed it as humidity, but satellite readings showed increased atmospheric conductivity above the lake, a natural electrical field, charged by the superheated gases escaping below. Meanwhile, fishing boats reported odd magnetic interference, compasses twitching violently, sonar systems failing near the southern trench. Pilots flying over the basin began seeing faint red glows beneath the surface at night, like a buried heartbeat pulsing beneath the waves. And yet no one has dared to close the lake. Tourism boards insist the readings are temporary, but scientists whisper about a terrifying possibility. If the heat continues to build, Tahoe could experience a limnic eruption, a phenomenon where trapped gases explode to the surface, releasing billions of tons of boiling water and toxic vapor. In such an event, the eruption would not come from a volcano, but from the lake itself, a mirror of peace transformed into a bomb. So now, the question lingers in every tremor and ripple. If the calmest lake in America has started to boil from within, how much longer can it pretend to be asleep?
Chapter 4. The Magnetic Anomaly.
What if the Earth beneath Lake Tahoe has started to hum? In late 2025, the US Geological Survey's magnetotelluric monitoring network, designed to map the planet's underground conductivity, picked up a strange, rhythmic pulse echoing beneath the Tahoe Basin. Every 42 minutes, like the beat of a slow and deliberate drum, an electromagnetic surge rippled upward from miles below the surface. At first, the anomaly was dismissed as a data glitch caused by interference from nearby power lines. But when independent observatories in Oregon and Arizona detected the same pulse pattern, timed precisely with Tahoe's, the scientific community took notice. This wasn't random noise. It was a signal. Mapping the pulses revealed something stunning. They formed a continuous subterranean line stretching southwest through the Sierra Nevada and directly toward Yosemite's Long Valley caldera, one of North America's most dangerous dormant volcanoes. The data implied a connection between the two, a shared magmatic artery scientists now call the Sierra Conduit. Inside that corridor, molten rock appears to be moving. Seismic tomography suggests the corridor acts like a superheated bloodstream, transporting magma, minerals, and charged gases beneath multiple volcanic systems simultaneously. Tahoe, Long Valley, Mammoth Mountain, all beating in the same rhythm. As the discovery spread through geological circles, so did the unease. Aircraft-mounted magnetometers began picking up secondary harmonics, tiny echoes of the same frequency, resonating in the ionosphere above the lake. That means whatever's stirring underground is reverberating into the atmosphere, like the Earth itself is transmitting a warning. Even animals are reacting. Migrating birds veer miles off course when crossing the basin. Trout disappear from their usual depths. Hikers report feeling static in the air, hair standing on end, as if the mountains themselves were charged.
If these readings are accurate, it means Tahoe isn't just a lake. It's a node in a planetary circuit, a living connection point in the Earth's internal energy grid. And if that's true, the consequences could be unimaginable. A surge in one node could send shockwaves through the others, igniting chain reactions across the western United States. For now, scientists can only listen. Instruments hum, satellites track, and the pulse continues, steady, growing stronger, like the measured breath of something vast and ancient preparing to wake. If the Sierra Conduit is real, and the Earth has found its rhythm again, then we must ask, is this the prelude to a geological symphony, or the first movement of a continental catastrophe?
Chapter 5. The Awakening Faults. It's hard to believe that the calm shores of Lake Tahoe, lined with pine forests, ski lodges and luxury homes, could be resting atop a system of fractures ready to rupture. For centuries, geologists called the basin tectonically quiet, but that illusion shattered when a swarm of tremors rippled beneath the West Tahoe Dollar Point Fault in late 2025. At first, the quakes were small, barely perceptible, but instruments told another story. The fault wasn't simply slipping, it was expanding, stretching open in segments that matched the pattern of pressure release from an underground magma push. As months passed, drones equipped with LiDAR revealed fresh fault scarps, long gleaming cliffs carved by recent movement, slicing across the lakebed like wounds that hadn't yet healed. Divers exploring near the rupture zones reported eerie sights, columns of bubbles rising steadily from fissures, the water shimmering with heat distortion. These gases weren't harmless. They contained methane, carbon dioxide,
and traces of sulfur dioxide, the unmistakable breath of magma approaching. Seismologists began noticing something even more ominous. The tremors followed a precise rhythm, pulsing every 20 hours, as though the lake itself were breathing.
When mapped, the epicenters formed a crescent pattern around the deepest trench of Tahoe. That arc perfectly mirrored the outline of a hidden caldera, previously buried by sediment. The realization hit hard. Lake Tahoe might not just be sitting beside an old volcano, it might be the volcano. And yet, surface life carries on. Tourists hiking, families boating, unaware that the ground beneath their feet is not steady stone, but a restless membrane of pressure. Scientists monitoring the tremor sequences warn that the system is locked and loading. The question isn't if it will slip again, but when. If the earth beneath Lake Tahoe is cracking open in perfect rhythm with the magma rising below, could this be nature's countdown to an eruption unlike anything modern America has ever witnessed?
Chapter 6.
The hidden fire beneath the ice. It's hard to believe that a lake famous for its freezing depths and snow-capped serenity could be hiding fire beneath its ice. Yet in the winter of 2026, that's exactly what satellites saw. Infrared imaging from NASA's Terra Observatory detected faint orange glows beneath Tahoe's frozen surface. Circles of warmth radiating through the snow like embers buried in glass. At first, experts thought the readings were errors caused by sunlight reflecting off the lake. But when the same heat patterns appeared at night, stronger, clearer, and pulsing in rhythm with the local seismic hum, the truth became undeniable. Something below the lake was heating the water from within. Field researchers drilled through the ice near Emerald Bay and were met with columns of rising gas, like distant whispers.
The escaping vapor contained helium, argon, and trace amounts of radon, gases that usually seep from volcanic conduits, not glacial lakes. Nearby, snow melted in perfect circles, revealing dark, wet craters that never refroze, no matter how cold the night grew. Thermal drones confirmed the source, a series of geothermal vents forming in a straight line across the bay, as though the Earth were drawing its own signature under the ice. Magnetic readings spiked in sync with every flare. Whatever was below was not random, it was organized, pulsing, alive. Scientists soon realized the implications. These weren't ordinary thermal vents. They were degassing points from a deep magma intrusion pressurizing the crust. Even more unsettling, locals began reporting strange lights over the lake, ghostly green auroras that shimmered across the night sky. Atmospheric physicists confirmed they were real, caused by charged ions escaping from the newly formed vents and interacting with the air. The heavens themselves were glowing in response to the rising heat. In a place once defined by silence, the mountain now whispered with steam, and the ice sang with static. If winter can no longer quiet the fire below, what season remains to save Lake Tahoe from its own awakening?
Chapter 7.
The Ancient Warning.
It's hard to believe that the legends whispered by the Washoe people, stories told around fires long before modern science, might have been warnings carved into memory. Yet as archaeologists dig deeper into the Tahoe Basin, the evidence grows harder to ignore. According to Washoe oral tradition, there was once a night when the mountain burned red and the water rose to swallow the stars. For generations, scholars dismissed it as poetic myth. But in 2026, a joint research team from Stanford and the Nevada Seismological Lab unearthed a layer of fused volcanic ash beneath the Truckee River Delta dated to approximately 12,000 years ago, the exact time these stories were said to have taken place. Further analysis revealed fragments of charred pine compressed under meters of sediment. The burn patterns match temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius, too high for wildfires, but perfect for pyroclastic surges. In other words, there had been an eruption beneath the lake long before humans wrote history. Even more disturbing, magnetotelluric scans show a reactivated magma channel in the same region today. The chemical composition of escaping gases, sulfur-rich and helium-3 heavy, matches what's expected from a rejuvenated volcanic system. The conclusion? Tahoe isn't just awakening, it's repeating a cycle it has followed before. It's hard to believe, but the past isn't gone. It's alive beneath us. If ancient voices already told us this story once before, how many more warnings will we ignore before history burns its message into stone again? Chapter 8. The Day the Lake Breathes. The sensors around Lake Tahoe began detecting something terrifying. Massive CO2 emissions bubbling up through the lake's deepest trenches. To the untrained eye, it looked harmless, just small streams of bubbles breaking the surface. But to geochemists, it was a red flag brighter than flame. Those bubbles meant gas saturation had reached critical levels. One sharp jolt, a quake, a landslide, even a rapid temperature change could trigger a limnic eruption capable of suffocating everything for miles. At Lake Nyos in 1986, a similar event killed 1,700 people in a single night. But Lake Tahoe holds over 150 times the gas volume. If those gases were suddenly released, the cloud would race down the mountains and through the valleys, invisible, odorless, unstoppable. As the pressure mounted, strange phenomena appeared across the basin. Night skies shimmered with blue halos, electrical discharges from charged vapor plumes rising from the surface. Fishermen described a low hum beneath their boats, whispering rhythmic and deep, as though the lake itself were exhaling. Infrasound recordings captured the breaths every 40 minutes, aligning perfectly with the electromagnetic pulses from months prior. Tahoe wasn't just reacting, it was synchronizing. The magma below, the gases above, even the ionosphere overhead were pulsing together in a single planetary rhythm. No one can say when the next exhale will come, or what it will unleash. But one thing is certain, the system is alive. The Earth doesn't move by accident. Every pulse, every bubble, every tremor is a heartbeat in a process far larger than we can comprehend. If this story changed the way you see the world beneath your feet, don't stop here. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us as we uncover the next awakening hidden beneath America's most mysterious landscapes. From Yellowstone's molten core to the depths of the Cascades, the Earth is stirring, and the signals are getting stronger. Because what's happening under Lake Tahoe might not be an isolated event. It could be the first breath of a continent coming alive.